for your guys, especially when you play Florida State, you know?
What's that?
Well, they picked y'all second in the Atlantic division.
No, I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen anything yet, but listen, I've been the head coach for 3 years, and I don't think we've been picked to win the division, much less the conference, and we've won the division twice in my 3 years. So I think our guys have finally kind of bought into that. This is a game that's played on the field, and what other people say or think in the preseason really is not a factor. There's a lot that goes into how it all plays out. But we weren't ranked last year, and won the conference. But I'm pretty sure, I don't think we've been picked to win the division at all since I've been in 9, 10, or 11. And like I said, we've won it twice, so that's really irrelevant.
Does it feel any different coming in here as the defending champs though this year, as opposed to not having to hear the questions about, oh, it's been 20 years and all that stuff?
Well, that part's different in that we've accomplished some goals at Clemson, not just last year, but really over the last 3 years that hadn't been done in a long time. But as y'all know, Clemson's one of those places that even when you have had the best season that they've had in 20 years and won the conference and won all your home games and set a record for wins versus ranked opponents. Even when you've done all that, nobody's happy. We got to win them all. That's the ultimate goal. And I think a lot of that goes back to just the culture at Clemson from winning a national championship. Anytime you're at a school that's won one, that's what you get measured against. And so ultimately that's what our goals are. They're bigger than winning the ACC, but that's certainly a good starting point. And but that's really about it. It's about 2012, and it's going to be a difficult challenge for all of us.
Can we clear up some of the Sammy stuff? It's been 81 days since his arrest. You haven't announced any sanction anything against him yet. If I'm a parent of an incoming freshman player and I ask you and I say I don't understand what your rules are for these things, and if my son gets picked up for the same thing, can I expect the same 80, 90 days or more reaction until you decide what you'll do?
Well, I haven't had an issue like this, but this is it's not any type of drama or anything like that. As I've told y'all, my decision to wait and render the punishment is really just more of a challenge to Sammy. There's some things that I wanted him to have to do, and I've kind of told him, listen, here's your high end of punishment, here's kind of the low end, and it's really up to you and how you handle yourself. And so, responding to a crisis or a difficult situation is really more important than the actual mistake. And he's gone above and beyond in what's been asked of him and required of him. And if he continues to do that, then he'll kind of get the low end of the punishment. And as far as dragging it out, I'm not going to do that. I mean, once we get to camp, we're going to go ahead and make a decision, put this behind us, and get ready to play some football. It's not something that we're going to wait till we get ready to play or anything like that.
So the answer to the incoming freshman is you will wait that long, or you won't?
I think every situation is a situation to itself. I don't think you can treat everybody the same, but I think you treat them fair. And it really just depends on the situation. When a guy gets in trouble, what's his past? What's decision making? Has he been in my office a lot? Is there, what's all involved there? All those things determine how you ultimately handle something. There's no cookie cutter way of doing things. It's really all based on that particular situation.
But when you tell your players, here's the rules, how do you?
I tell my players, here's the rules, and there's consequences for your actions. Simple as that. And there will be consequences for his actions.
Coach, you guys were picked second today in the division. Any surprise at all? Not a lot of love for the Tigers. I think it was 17 first place for us.
Well, I was just telling these guys that it's 9, 10, and 11. I've been the head coach in 9, 10, and 11. I don't think we've been picked to win it at all, and we've won it twice. And so, that stuff is just fun for everybody to talk about and predict. And I'm much more interested in how it ends up in December. That's really the only concern I have.
You still have a lot of those guys still, right? Like Sammy Watkins, and Taj Boyd, and Andre Ellington.
We do. We got a lot of guys back, but we're missing a bunch of those guys too that helped us win last year. So, whole new season, whole new team, and a much different challenge.
Speaking of last year, how do you use what happened in Orange Bowl as motivation for this season without letting it color the beginning of the season?
I think every season is the same in that you use everything that happened the prior season, good and bad, not just one game. Fact of the matter is we lost 4 games. We didn't just lose 1 game, and all 4 of those games were painful. My second year we lost 5 games by 6 points or less, and 2 of them on the last play of the game. One to Auburn in overtime. We won it all. One with 2 seconds left on the clock on a 55-yard field goal at Florida State. So, and at the end of the year, we didn't get like a half a loss because they were close losses. And this year they don't put like 2 L's because one got away from you. The bottom line is when you win and when you lose, you have opportunities to learn and grow. And so that's what the off season's about, and that's what we've done. We don't dwell on any particular game. Same thing, the good. You probably played the best game of the year in the championship game. Well, that's great. But it's about really studying yourself. And the biggest thing about this team that I think is unique is it's been a long time at Clemson since you've had a team that is coming back who has experienced a championship. And with that, I think hopefully they have a clear understanding of what it takes to get there and what it's all about. And hopefully the success and failure from last year fuels that fire to try to go do bigger and better things in 2012.
What specific things did you learn specifically about the defense, from that Orange Bowl game?
About the defense? Well, we didn't play well in any phase of the game in the Orange Bowl. That game's over. I mean, we didn't play good. We didn't play good on offense, defense, special teams, and that's about it. I'm not here to talk about the Orange Bowl.
Okay.
I'm here to talk about 2012 and this season.
What did you think about the NCAA, what they did today to Penn State? What are your reactions to that?
Well, I think, well, first of all, we kind of talked collectively as a group of ACC coaches, and I think they put out a statement, and, I certainly fully agree with that statement, and that this is just, it is a real tragedy on all angles, and it's, your heart goes out to all the people who've been hurt, and it's really just kind of hard to get your mind around. I'm sad, for those players who are really in a tough situation as well with their futures who've had nothing to do with any of this. But obviously, a decision has been made, and at this point, I'm sure they're trying to figure out how to move forward. But it's just a tragic situation from every angle.
Would you think about recruiting some of those people? Do you know any of them?
I don't know any of them. I don't know anybody up there. I don't think we've had any, to my knowledge, any recruiting battles with Penn State. But that's a tough situation.
You said last week Sammy's punishment would be announced within a couple of weeks. Might be before practice starts, after practice starts?
Probably right after we get going in camp. Once I have a chance to, get everybody back together and sit down and visit with him and then visit with the team and then let you guys know, and we'll move forward, get ready to play some football.
Coach, what kind of impact will that new defensive coordinator have on your defense this year? In what way will would that be evident?
Well, I hope we play a lot better on defense this year. But the biggest thing is just Brent brings a lot of energy and enthusiasm, and I think that the chemistry is very, very good, offensively, defensively, and hopefully that'll transfer to our team. But we've got a lot of guys that got some experience last year that are back, especially on the back end, secondary, and our linebacker group that hopefully will be better. But the biggest thing is, with our system, we're keeping a lot of the the things that we've built in place here the last 3 years, but we've also simplified some things. And you're just going to have to see us play, and before we can really get a true gauge on how it's taken root. But I'm excited about what I've seen, and look forward to getting out on the field and putting it to the test.
Malachi was talking yesterday about really improving endurance over the summer and sort of going hard every rep and that kind of thing. And I was wondering if that was sort of a theme for you guys in the offseason.
Well, I think our guys, after last year, it's one thing to kind of talk about something. It's another thing when you've done it. And I think they got great experience last year at trying to play the way we want to play. And that's offensively and defensively. I think we snapped the ball second most of any team in the country. And when you do that, you pretty much have to play 5 quarters of football instead of 4. And so that's something that you have to kind of gear yourself up for. And hopefully those guys will be ready to roll. I think mentally now they know a little bit more what to expect from a tempo standpoint. And then, our defense, we saw more teams last year that really tempoed us, spread us out, attacked us in some different ways. And so, that's an area that we've got to continue to improve on that side also.
What's your assessment of your offensive line at this point heading into camp?
I came out of spring really encouraged about our offensive line. I mean, listen, the question mark on our team, if I'm sitting in your shoes, is our offensive and defensive line. But for me, I mean, I don't really have a concern from a talent standpoint. I think we've got good players. I really like the personnel on our team. I think the storyline of this team is going to be the development and the emergence of our sophomores. We played a bunch of freshmen last year, but if you look at our team, we have 1 senior defensive lineman, we have no juniors, and we have all sophomores and freshmen. If you look at our offensive line, we have 1 senior, we have 2 juniors, and all sophomores and freshmen. So there's a bunch of sophomores that are going to have to start for us in the trenches. And so that, to me, is going to be the real storyline early on, how those guys develop, how they play and perform. So now I'm encouraged with our offensive line. I felt like they were a little bit ahead coming out of spring ball. But they've got a little bit more veteran flavor to them with Dalton and Brandon Thomas. And even though Shatley hadn't played the offensive line, he's played a lot of football. And he is a football player. So, I think it's going to be fun to watch. But I like our guys. I really do. And I like where we are right now.
Dabo, does it say something about the leadership structure of those lines that you chose to bring Dalton and Malachi with here today? Does that say something about the way that you feel the leadership structure might unfold in those two, as you put it, the weak spots on the team, the question marks?
Well, both of those guys have got huge roles, and they've got to do a great job from a leadership standpoint. I mean, Dalton's the quarterback up front. I mean, everything starts with your center, especially with our system. And then, Malachi, he's the guy we've kind of challenged to take his game to another level. If you look at us the last 2 years, when Daquan was coming back that junior year, we challenged him that hey, you got to take it to another level. And he did, led the country in sacks. Last year, we challenged Branch. Hey, it's your time, you got to take it to another level. And he did. And it's kind of the same thing with Malachi this year. He's got to take it to another level. He's been a good player. He's been a productive player, just like Branch was. But he hadn't been a great player yet, and neither had Branch. And neither had Daquan, quite frankly. And so that's the challenge to Branch, and the big thing with Dalton. Dalton has been an all-conference player, but it's really taking the leadership. I mean, he's like having a coach on the field, and he has done a fantastic job in just taking these young guys, holding them accountable, challenging them just like a coach would do in the off season and so forth. So I'm anxious to get back out on the field with them and see where they are. But the chemistry of that group starts with him, and he's done a fantastic job of kind of stepping up to that task.
You happy with that? You coming off a BCS bid, but now they're going to a 4-team playoff in a few years. Would you rather have seen that 8 teams to give an ACC champion more of a shot at playing for the national championship, or do you think it's a 4-team is okay? I like what they've come up with. Personally, I just think it takes an already great situation and makes it even better. I personally like the bowl
format, and I like the fact that they're going to use that. They're going to move games back to New Year's Day, which I can't even imagine we didn't have games on New Year's Day. I think it's exciting. Again, I think it's just to create even more buzz and excitement for college football. So, look forward to kind of watching all the rest of the pieces come together, because I know there's still some moving parts there, but I really like where it's how it's shaking out. I think we're well positioned within our conference, and hopefully we can be a part of it here when it gets going.
You think this league can regularly get into that 14 system?
Absolutely, no question, no doubt about it.
Why did you feel compelled to come out and make all the statements about staying in the ACC and make such strong statements?
Because what I said was exactly what I believe. It made no sense to me at all. And to be honest with you, I mean, I don't respond to everything that somebody starts blogging about because a lot of it is just, it's here a day and 2 days later it's something different. But that situation took on a life of its own, and it became a real distraction. And especially when there was no reality involved at all. But people were putting things out like it was fact and this is done, and on and on. And it was really a distraction for us as a program, our recruiting, our coaches, and so forth. And I don't believe that makes sense at all for us. So. That's why I said what I said. I mean, again, and it was just my opinion, because if they tell me we're going to go play in Alaska, then that's where we're going. I just work there, but I certainly have an opinion as the leader of the football program.
Regarding the playoff, would you be in favor eventually of an 8-team format?
I like what we have. I like what we have. I was in favor of the kind of the +1 deal, and again, I think this kind of gives us the best of both worlds. There's always going to be debate. There's always going to be people. Listen, we're already playing. I got to go through 3 levels of playoffs. I mean, I got 3 playoff games. I got a championship game, I got a semifinal game, and a national championship game. So and I got a whole regular season. So I think what we have really protects that regular season, but also adds a little bit more flavor to the end of the postseason. And maybe solves a little bit of the debate. I personally don't think we've spent a lot of time arguing about the 5th and 6th team. I mean, I'm sure that'll happen, but I don't think it's been more, 2nd, 3rd, 4th team. And I think this will be exciting. It'll be interesting to watch it all unfold, but it's a couple years away. So right now we're still in the old system, and hopefully we can maybe win one of these before we get to that new format.
You've obviously accomplished several of your goals with this program, one in the division, one in the ACC. Now, what is the next step for you? What is your next goal?
Well, we have achieved a lot of goals in elevating our recruiting, modernizing our staff, and building a support staff, and so forth. Winning the ACC, all that. The next goal for us as a program is to become the consistent winner. To be that consistent team that's nationally ranked, and then if you can do that, then you're going to have that special year and consistently recruit at a high level. So just be a consistent winner. I mean, that's the next step. We've had 2 good seasons out of 3 years, and we need to put 3, 4, 5 good years together. And I really think we're built to make a run at Clemson. I mean, we have 11 seniors this year. That's it, and they're really good players and good people. But that's a little unnerving because you don't have a lot of veteran leadership on this team, but it's also exciting because you know what's coming. And if we'll just continue to do a good job of recruiting and developing our players, there's no reason why Clemson can't become that consistent winner and be that team that nationally people are expecting to be in the mix.
Do you think you can make a run at a national championship in the next year or 2?
That's the expectation at Clemson, and that's our goal, is to win them all. Simple as that. I mean, I know it's only happened once, but this is a school that's done it, and I don't take a back seat to any other school, and I don't back away from expectations or a challenge. That's what we want to do, and I think we've made great strides in getting on track to do that. And I understand also it's really hard to do. I mean, you look at the last 30, 32 years of college football, You know, Georgia's won one national championship. Clemson's won one. Tennessee's won one. Texas, where they print their own money, has won one. Alabama's won 3. Florida State's won 2. I mean, it's hard to do, okay? And so I understand that, but I also accept that as a challenge, and you know that's what we wake up trying to do every single day. And you know, but if we can be that consistent winner and we can consistently put ourselves in position to win this conference, then we have a chance to have a seat at the table. And if we can be in that mix, anything can happen. So there's no doubt. I think we're heading in that direction. It's going to be an exciting decade for Clemson football.
Dabo, do you like the 9-game league schedule moving forward, or would you rather there be reconsideration for that to go back to 8 so you can have more flexibility in non-conference to help strengthen the schedule with the new playoff format?
Yeah, I don't like the 9-game. You know, I mean, that's what we got, so it really doesn't moot point whether I like it or not, but you know, I would not have voted for it. I didn't get a vote, but I would have preferred to have kept it at 8, but it is what it is. So, you know, we'll have 9. You know, from a scheduling standpoint, you got 9 really good opponents that you have to play. Plus, we have South Carolina every single year, so it takes away a little bit of your flexibility from a scheduling standpoint. The biggest thing is, you know, you got to have home games. You know, revenue. I mean, you fill up Death Valley. There's a lot of revenue coming in there, and not just for the athletic department, but just for our community that thrives on that game day. And you know, so you have to make sure that you have a certain amount of home games. And now for the next 2 years, it's going to be a challenge for us because we're going to have 9 conference games: Georgia, South Carolina, and whoever else. So we certainly aren't lacking from a challenging schedule. That's for sure.
Coach, what do you think the reaction will be in the coaching